Hey, what's going on? Keith here from Sports Vibes TV, and this is another edition of the Knicks Syndicate pregame show. Hey, Foxy, how's everything with you?
All right. As you know, here in the New York area, we're getting hit with some snow a little later. So the good news is I'm going to try out my new snowblower. The bad news is I'm going to be trying out my new snowblower.
I hear you on that. I hear you on that one. So George will be arriving shortly, but I got Stephen Fox here holding it down with me until he shows up. But J- Foxy, we coming off of a pretty bad loss against the Heat, and we didn't get to really talk about it. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on the loss before we jump into some of the topics we have on schedule for today.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. But you know what? It's consistently bad. You look at the plus minus on our starting team, everyone's really bad in the negative territory. And then
Hmm.
you look at the second team, you're like, oh my God, look at the positive. Everyone is playing there. So but just again, Tibbs, and you hate to belabor it. All right, we're coming back. We're coming back. He put the second team in. Okay, we're down by 10. All right, time to put Randall and the rest of the guys back in. What are you doing? They just worked themselves back into it. So,
Hmm.
consistent craziness. That's what's going on with us as Nick fans. The rotations, the movies making, putting Cam in garbage time, just everything. Just Kemba. You put in Kemba, we're fighting from behind from the start. Every time it's like, boom, we're gonna take a hit.
Yeah, I hear you on that. It was actually crazy with that game because we were on the pregame show as we do, but we were on George's channel to start. And right after the show wrapped, we were talking, having our discussions, and I leave backstage and I look and we're already down 13-2. And I had to text George. I said, George, were you watching while we were having our conversations? What in the world happened and why are we already, down 13-2? And that was pretty much at that point, the game was lost. We were never really threatening the Heat at that point or at any other point throughout the game, and it was frustrating as a Knicks fan to watch Tibbs, some of his rotations. We as fans can see things are not working, and you look at a coach like Tibbs who has the pedigree, who has the experience, and it's like, okay, why aren't you seeing the same things we're seeing? And that's what I think a lot of the fans' frustration is stemming from.
Yeah. And in the pregame, it was like, what do you think the key matchup is? And I went, the coaches. Because I always feel Eric out coaches Tibbs, and it just felt, that way again. So, and we'll see tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, George is in the house. Woo!
It's
Hey,
good to
George,
be
how's
here.
everything?
It's good to be here, guys.
Thank you,
I
thank
uh
you.
I was taking a little pregame nap, but it kind of went overtime. And if it weren't for your text, Keys, I would have snoozed right through this whole pregame.
I was wondering why you got on like this. Yeah, I'm ready to do the show. I'm
know?
okay.
And then I
Yeah,
also
yeah.
had to, get my little cocktail together.
Oh, you're the
I
coolest.
did catch your initial thoughts about the game. Yeah, I'm dying to hear more of what you guys think about that game, that Miami
We're
game.
dying to hear what you got to say.
Well, I went in hard.
George
I
had
went in
his
hard
rant.
on it, man.
I know. It's like it's not a night if I don't, before I hit the bed and see his last thoughts. It's like I love his passion.
You know what's funny is someone put in the chat on the replay of our pregame
Mhm.
yesterday when I replayed it. They put in the
Yeah.
chat. Is it the only thing I like about a Knicks loss is George's rants?
It's a complete different switch from last season to this season, though, because at least last season we were much more competitive. We had that
Yeah.
stretch of 9 games where everybody was ecstatic, and this season is
Well,
the complete opposite.
yeah. You know what? The main difference that I see, guys, because the offense was pretty bad last season too. Let's just all be
Yes.
honest. It
Hmm.
was the defense. We could count on the defense to string together three to five, six, seven stops in a row sometimes. So we're like, okay, if our crippled offense can somehow manage to make a few buckets, we can kind of get always stick around. Now, I mean, even though the defense, against Cleveland, it was good.
Yeah.
Generally, it's. I think we reached the top 10 defense now for the year since game 10. I think we're like the 8th best, so which is a substantial amount of time. But that Miami game, I think was huge. I think it actually created a lot of lasting impact that we're going to see, especially moving into the trade deadline now coming up.
Yeah, I mean, it's no surprise that after that game, you start hearing a lot of these rumblings now. The last 2 days after that pathetic performance from the starters, we're starting to hear some of the vets may be on the block, and we're even starting to hear some news about some of the young guys, which we'll get into, a little bit later on in the show.
Oh man! So what is there? Because I didn't get the Keys take on the last game or Foxy.
I just said it was a tale of two teams for the umpteenth time that the starters are all in negative territory on plus minus, and the second team were all plus. And the second team fights back and gets it down to 10, or where maybe we can make another run, and he pulls them out and puts back the first team. So, just one thing after another of consistent craziness.
Yeah, it was rough to watch. As you know, I was a little bit upset with the fact that Cam got pretty much just garbage minutes. I even said it in the group text. Cam looked like he really didn't want to be out there. I think he did have some moments, but it was not the best situation for a guy that's coming from the Hawks and wants to be a legitimate piece on a team. So that threw me off. The fact that Tibbs continues to rely on his starters, even though when we see things are not working out and he fails to make adjustments. And I think, Foxy, you said it in the pregame show. Spoelstra continually outcoaches Tibbs in games, and we saw that. We had no answer for Bam when the offense was run through him on defense, and we had defensively we allowed them to get uncontested threes and knock them down and get into rhythm. I think even though we've said the defense has gotten better, the Heat was still able to penetrate, get into the paint, and allow things to happen, allow things to start going into motion on offense. So I was not thrilled with what I saw from that team or our team last night. And I think it's clear that major moves need to be made.
Yeah. Major moves? Like the most major of moves that would
he has to go.
Smile? Yeah,
he has to go. We'll get into that. And a lot of these vets, that's why I was kind of surprised people got so excited about the news from Windhurst, because I don't really look at Windhurst as a Knicks insider. So I felt like he was just talking about what we've been talking about over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, but it was a perfect storm. I think Van Gundy's comments also had a lot to do with
really
that. That he had credibility, and for him to say you got to blow up that starting team was everything that we've talked about, collectively on our shows. That hey, what the hell's going on here? Kemba doesn't work. This sentimental tour has to come to an end. We're behind every time he starts. All of a sudden, like you said, what was it, 13-2 last game? Mm-hmm. It's like, stop it already.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is also what Windhurst said is like fed right into what most of the fan base wanted to hear, which is they want to clear the path so that the youth can get minutes. So of course we're going to embrace that, and that actually is new. That is new news. And actually, Herbie Mack, I don't know if he's on right now, but he sent me something on Twitter, a video of Kevin. I believe his name is Kevin Smith. He covers the Celtics, and he's been on Macri's channel. I think he's even been on with CP, not 100%, but he's around. He's a known NBA guy, and he said he has also heard that the Knicks don't want to give up Obi or IQ, and that's great. That's great to hear, because that's what we want to do. We want to hold on to our young guys and retool the vets, and let's make a run for the play-in, but led by the young guys. I mean, we answered this question in the last pregame when we talked about how do we see making a playoff push. None of us thought, let's just trade our young core away and bring in vets and try to do it that way. Yeah.
See, but when you look at the Cam trade, that's what kind of, I think, showed the Knicks brass's hand. You don't go out there and make a move for Cam, and then you don't make that move if you're not going to try and go with some sort of a youth movement. And that's why a lot of people are saying be patient, allow the Knicks to get to the trade deadline, make a move, and then that'll open up minutes for Cam. But I just want to say if we keep putting these guys out there like Burks and Fournier and they don't perform well, we're just going to continue to devalue them more and more, making it harder to trade them. So it's a weird spot, I think, for the Knicks to be in right now. But hopefully, Leon and them can make some moves. I think trading and drafting are two areas where I have faith in them. Outside of that, I'm a little skeptical.
Yeah. I don't have the actual latest numbers up here, but Burks had been having a nice run not that long ago. And then what we talked about before, Fournier was pretty much lighting it up from the 3-point line since January 1st. It's possible because players hear from their agents hear things earlier than we do. It's possible they already knew this news that Windhorst ended up coming out with, and that may have impacted them. It's unfortunate. They're human beings. Maybe that's one of the reasons they had zero impact on that game. The last two games. They could just be too much in their head, and they could be pissed, knowing also that a lot of the responsibility for where the Knicks are, unfortunately, is because of the leader. The engine is sputtering, hasn't really done his job. And maybe they feel like, hey, I don't want to be traded, but I can see why we're going to be traded. But shouldn't Randall be the one? Who knows? Who knows what's going on in their heads? But they're thinking too much instead of just going out on the court and giving their best effort. It's possible that that's happening because players do tend to hear things earlier than we do. I hope that whatever happens actually happens soon. I hope it happens next week.
Because if not, it's going to fester.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
These L's are going to rack up, and it's going to get ugly.
Yeah, we're in it. We went through it. Now it's 6 games before the trade deadline.
Randall didn't speak again, and I think that's a move by the front office on purpose. Like he was just saying,
a little bit with Fred Katz. I don't know if it was an interview or what.
Yeah.
But he said
was it Fred Katz or Steve Popper?
One or the other, but it was. I think it was just the essence of him just saying that he still wants to, be a Knick. And is that what you were talking about, Keys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's the perfunctory thing. But I think the Knicks are in damage control now. If we win, let them talk to the media. If we lose and Randall plays that game, cut him. Don't let him. We'll pay the fine. But we're going to try to get rid of this guy by February 3rd to the 10th. So we don't want him in the press conference saying anything that's in the realm of a STFU.
Yeah. I was surprised to hear the different takes that so many other, traditional media analysts had about the whole Randall not being made himself available for the media. Like some were thinking, oh, he just chose not to do it because he, didn't want to get out in front of the camera. And then Dolan was covering for him by paying for it. I can tell you 100% that wasn't the case. He may have that first game, he may not have chosen to go speak, but then he went and spoke during that practice day. And that's when he's like, I let the Instagram answer that question. I already answered that question. Remember that whole?
Yep.
Yeah, I loved it in your video. Randall said that impersonation.
It totally backfired. So Dolan's looking at that. He's like, you know what? If we're planning on moving on from this guy, let's just pull him away from the cameras. Let's let his image heal itself. Hopefully he'll respond on the court. Don't keep putting him in front of the mics because Berman and Bondi and those guys, they ask real questions.
They'll get under your skin.
Yeah. So
if he knows he's on the trade block, he might slip at one of the press conferences or one of the post game.
Yeah. And the tell was that Dolan chose to pay the $25,000. So the mandate came from him to not force him in front of the cameras.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question for you, Keith, just locally. I noticed something, but I don't know whether it's just a coincidence, and this goes to the chat and the SV Nation. I don't see any of the commercials that Randall. I don't see those commercials that he was in run anymore. I think they cut all those commercials. I don't see them.
He's not good for business at this point.
I know, but it went boom. The minute that happened, I'm like, he had one. He was sitting on the roof, of a car, and the car hood, and he had these others that they kept playing in a rotation.
And a sporting goods one.
Yeah, so he's out of that rotation now. He must feel like Kemba.
Well, when you tell the customers to shut the fuck up,
Mhm.
Ixnay
They
and the
will with their wallet.
Oh, but keep buying these products that
Yeah.
I'm pushing on you guys.
Yeah, because they're going to give my product a thumbs down.
Exactly. Or even worse, burn it.
Yeah, because I said to Keith when he did that, the first thing that went through my head from all my years in corporate America is that his agent and his business manager went, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! All right, we're in damage control. What did he just do? Oh my god, this is going to hurt our pocket."
Facts, facts. But guys, since we're on the topic of Randall, there was some. This is more general NBA news, but it could factor in with the New York Knicks and what we do with Julius Randle. So Woj tweeted out ESPN sources: the Kings, one of the most aggressive teams in the market and once an eager suitor for Philly's Ben Simmons, have ended pursuit of a deal with the 76ers and turned elsewhere in trade talks. Story soon. So could this be a possible move for the Knicks if they decide to make a big move and a big splash, bring in another young player and finally solve that hole at point guard? Foxy, we'll start with you. George was a little too excited.
Yeah,
I gave a fist bump already.
Yeah. I said to you off the air that, or maybe it was JD today, I forget, I get confused sometimes, but I said there's really, no, I think it was you, Keith, that it was like three choices that for contract purposes, D Fox works out well, but it's a guy that, from a differential standpoint, the team, the team scores 1 point extra per 100 possessions when D Rose is not on the court. So he's not having a real impact that he puts up stats and everything. So from a contract standpoint, he fits well. And then there's DeJounte Murray, who, if they go for him, that actually means that we're going to want to win this chip. They'll pay a tax because that's what he does for the team. And then the compromise is Jalen Brunson, where you don't give up Randall, and you get a guy that is a solid guy, but he's not going to be, he's not at the level of some of the other guys. So, but getting back to Fox, he's having a really off year, and it's almost like their version, Sacramento's Julius Randle to be version of Julius Randle to be traded to the Knicks for for our version of De'Aaron Fox. So just two disgruntled players that have a lot of talent, but have worn out their welcome in their city.
George, all right. How do you feel?
I tweeted out about this today. I tweeted out about this today, which I know you guys saw. To me, it's a perfect scenario. They like Foxy said, the contracts somewhat, at least
ballpark.
They're within the ballpark, and they are guys that, well, for one, I think Fox it's just gotten a little stale for him in Sacramento. He had a nice year last year. Not as efficient as we'd like it to be, but statistically, it was a nice year. And the guy can get to the hoop basically anytime he wants. That's something that we don't have on this team, where a guy, if he wants to get to the hoop, he'll get to the hoop. Rose has a little bit of that. RJ, we see some of that, but not like at any time that he needs to do it, he can do it. And De'Aaron Fox has that kind of speed. And the other thing is they would probably both benefit from a change of scenery. We know Randall will. And Randall, maybe it'll help refocus him. The other thing about it is, and that was in that tweet, is both of these teams actually have a very good person already on the roster ready to step into that position that they're being traded from. So Fox, they have Halliburton. Sacramento has Halliburton.
And also their Davion Mitchell, their first round draft pick.
And they have Davion. And the Knicks, we have Obi. So it's a perfect marriage. I mean, no trade. Remember, there's no perfect trade for both teams are like ecstatic with the trade. It's always going to hurt a little bit. There's a bit of a gamble on both sides. There's always a risk. But we already have a guy. They're two of the, I think, 6 most inefficient players of high volume usage in the NBA. Actually, Randall is number 2 behind Reggie Jackson. I actually tweeted that out today. And I think De'Aaron is 8th. But up there is a lot of guys. Paul George is up there. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's up there. Luka Doncic is up there. A lot of guys that are up there because when the ball's in your hands most of the time, a lot of times you're actually not always getting the best shots, but you're the one that has to get force those shots. Like the way Melo used to have to do it. When the shot clock's going down, someone's got to try to get you that bucket. And on these two teams, it's these two guys. Now Randall's just been horrific. And then I fear that he cracked. He doesn't have the mental makeup to really get it back together in New York City. I don't think he can handle the pressure. And even if he started playing well again, the minute it went south again, is he going to be able to handle it? In my opinion, he created this whole scenario himself anyway. I mean, the fans were loving him. We were happy that he signed the contract. I know there's a whole group of fans that, aren't the biggest Randall fans, but, as Keith, you would agree, we got him for a decent deal based upon what he did last season and his age. He has a decent age. It's a tradable contract. Did we expect him to fall off this much? I didn't expect him to fall off this much.
Me neither.
Yeah. But I think he's done. I think it's over with for him in New York City, despite what he said in that other interview. And that's, maybe he did that to trying to help repair his image, which is fine. But we are in desperate need of a young, electrifying point guard who's got just speed to burn like a De'Aaron Fox. And it's possible with a Tom Thibodeau that possibly he can help him become a better defender and become a more efficient player, possibly. I mean, that's the hope and the dream, especially guys like Johnny Bryant who were able to do that with Donovan Mitchell. And so it could be a good marriage. And instantly we would solve two major issues. What we can do with Obi, and we finally have a real bona fide starting point guard, like a really, really bona fide starting point guard. And the same can be said for Sacramento. They get that power forward that they wished Marvin Bagley was, that they haven't had for years since Chris Webber, really. I mean, Webber was, by the end, he was kind of a center as well. But, when he was a power forward and Vlade was the center there, they haven't had that in years. And they have Halliburton, who's just killing it at the point. So it's there's a lot of synergy there. I could see it. I could see it working.
Yeah. My thing is that I'm not a big Fox fan, but I could deal with Fox more than I could deal with Randall. And also this fact, my personal opinion is that Randall's ceiling was last year. I don't think he'll ever approach that level, but I think we haven't seen under, like you said, a Tibbs or especially a Johnny Bryant, a point guard whisperer. I don't think we've seen Fox's. I think Fox is 10 years younger than Derrick Rose, literally. So I don't think we've seen his ceiling. So to get a guy like that, like you said, you can't teach that speed. This game is about getting to your spot, and he can get to his spot anytime he wants. And with that speed, you create spacing, and with that speed, you create mismatches and kickouts and stuff like that. So if we can somehow harness him, and like I said, he's young. I could see him getting better, but I don't see Julius ever approaching last year again.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of a Fox trade. I'm a fan of moving Julius Randle. I just don't know if De'Aaron Fox is the piece, not the greatest defender. I know George has mentioned, maybe Tibbs can work with him to become a better defender, but we thought that would happen with Knox, who had some tools, and he was never able to get his head into the game. I mean, I don't know about all that. He still could have cracked the rotation. So yeah. I'm not sure if a new environment is just going to automatically make Fox a better defender or a better shooter. And you look at how RJ has played with Kemba, who's a point guard that needs the ball in his hand, and it kind of throws off RJ's game. So I'm really cautious about bringing in another point guard.
That's the risk.
Like a De'Aaron Fox, yeah, and it would throw off RJ and some of the development we've seen over the last, 10, 15 games. So with Fox, I'd be a little hesitant to make that move. I prefer Halliburton, honestly. I think he's that type
no
of
doubt.
point guard where he doesn't need the ball in his hand. And if he is, being relied upon to be the facilitator, he can do that as well. He's got size, he can rebound, he can shoot, and he can defend. So if we can finagle the Kings and get Halliburton out the deal, that's probably the route I would pursue. I just don't know if we'd be able to keep some of the younger talent on this team. I think the Kings really just want to get out of that contract, is why they're so happy or so willing to move on from Fox.
Yeah, the money doesn't line up as well with Halliburton.
Yeah, that's the only reason I said Fox was money. Yeah. I don't like him either. I'm a DeJounte Murray guy all the way with Brunson in second and Fox in 38th. I'm not really a big fan of his at all.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to take a second to shout out to our family?
Facts. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have 143 people in the chat and 44 likes. So do me a favor and hit that like button, and also please subscribe. If you have subscribed, please tell your friends, and please hit that all reminder bell so you don't miss out on any of the wonderful content. Also wanted to thank you, our guy Mazel Tov to George. He blew past the 4,000 subscriber number. So Roadcaster in the house.
Thank you.
So that's the only one I know where it is.
Yeah. So congratulations. So make sure you hit that subscribe for Into the Knicks First to support our guy, and share this link on your favorite social media platforms. And as always, shout out to the best mods on the planet. We appreciate all you do. So Quiet Money, I hope all is well with you and your family. Juan Sinclair, hey, Big Mike, big task at hand. Just appreciate Guap, Luciano, Bricks Nation, Kaiser Sose, Just Shaquan, Canal. We appreciate all, not only the comments in the chat, but Keith and I, we answer all of your comments. If you notice, there's not a comment that goes in the when you in the regular replay video that we don't answer. So we appreciate DeBurr, my guy DeBurr. Hope all is well with you and the family. So thanks again for all your support. And Evelanis plays. Evelanis plays. So if I didn't say it right, forgive me, but thank you for the shout out.
Also want to give a special shout out to Lex once again. He was holding it down. It was a troll. I was in there, and Lex made sure that they weren't able to ruin the show. So thank you. We appreciate all the work you do in the chat. Also, I put a poll in the you want to give some shout outs too? My bad.
No, just everybody else that you guys said, but specifically Big Task and Lex, shout out to you guys.
And don't forget Tom Ford, the best designer the Lord's ever made.
Excellent
D-Burr.
Excellent
I got
designer.
a D-Burr.
Quiet Money. Shout out, brother.
I put a poll in the chat, even though George and Foxy don't want to let me tell you guys it's in the chat.
It's Friday night.
It's Friday. Oh, is the dog going to start barking? So I put a poll in the chat. Should the Knicks try to move Julius Randle for De'Aaron Fox? And also, Foxy, at the end of your comment, you mentioned a player that you and I both like and has been rumored to be available. And that's going to be DeJounte Murray. So there's been some news that he may be available if teams call and have the proper offer. And there's also rumors that Donovan Mitchell may be eyeing a path to the New York Knicks. Have you guys been aware of some of these rumors that have been circulating on Twitter?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so George, we'll start with you. How would you feel about Donovan Mitchell potentially rocking not the Mets blue and orange, but the Knicks blue and orange?
I'd want him in either uniform.
He's gonna be a Thibodeau?
Yeah. I would love Spider to come back home, come back to New York. It feels like it's destiny. I just hope it's not one of those things that it happens when he's all broken at 34 and he comes back. He comes finally to the Knicks.
Oh, you mean like Kemba?
Yeah.
Boom.
I would love that. I would totally love it. I just it's hard to see the Jazz. I mean, it would have to be Donovan would have to go to the Jazz and request this. Now they're saying first round exit away from it. Well, I mean, it's possible. I mean, the West is It's a strange conference. The Jazz are, they're a weird team, and we're gonna face them soon. Playoff wise, they haven't had the greatest success. I could see this. I could see it happening, actually, but it would cost us a lot for it to happen because the Jazz are all in on Mitchell. All in. In fact, one of the reasons that they wanted to get D Wade to come on to the board there and on staff there was to help create an environment to make Mitchell more encouraged to stay in Utah. And Utah loves him. I mean, he's a huge favorite there. It would be tough. It would be tough. He basically would have to initiate this because there's no reason for the franchise to want to
move on.
Yeah. Because
they're never going to get Gobert before they move on from Donovan.
Yeah.
Willingly.
Yeah. Because it's impossible. Here's the thing with players like this, it's impossible to get commensurate value. So you're going to have to basically, you're thinking it's a package, and then you're thinking, the draft picks. But you send him to the Knicks, those picks ain't going to be lottery picks. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Maybe it's a 3-team deal. Not sure. But I would love to see him. As far as DeJounte Murray, but see the way it's phrased, has been receiving calls about the availability. Doesn't say that he is available. Of course they're going to make calls because there aren't. We've talked about this many times. There's hardly any young, elite point guards in the NBA that could possibly even be available. So they're knocking on the door to see if he is. I doubt that he is, but he would be tremendous. He would be tremendous. I'm a big fan of his as well. Though he doesn't have that 3-point shot, so that would be the one weakness in his game, but it's possible that he could develop it. It's not like it's that broken. So he could get it up to decent league average levels, possibly. That would be my hope for him. If he did that, I'd say he would be a tremendous get.
What about you, Foxy? How do you feel about these potential players being available?
Well, I love Murray, and I don't mind paying a tax for him. I still think it'd be cheaper than a lot of other guys. And talking about cheaper, I'd hate to see the price for Mitchell. I think it'd be Mellow all over again. He'd come here, but we had to empty the cupboard to get him. And who's surrounded now? George said, I don't know if we wouldn't be a lottery team because who the hell would we have around? It'd be Donovan Mitchell and probably Donovan Mitchell. I don't know who we'd have left. They'd absolutely ask for RJ, I'm sure.
Yeah. The thing is, if we're talking about this summer, yeah, it'll be tough. But let's say it's next summer. We have another draft coming. We restock our young guys. Look what we've done with Grimes and Deuce, and now we've made that trade for Cam. We're accumulating young assets. So where we can trade from a position of some depth, so it doesn't crush us. Unlike the scenario when it was with the Melo situation, where we have a deeper roster. That would be the hope. But if it happened this summer, it'd be tough. It would gut us.
I'd love us to get rid of these contracts and play the young kids, and maybe in 23 make a run for Jokic. So have Jokic come in as to complement all the young kids that have a few years now under their belt, because now that's a game changer in so many ways. Passing, just every way. He's such an influencer. So I'd love if we could go after him as our 5 of the future in a couple of years.
Yeah, and with the way Jokic and his play style, you don't really worry about him as he starts to get older because his game isn't predicated on athleticism. It's all skill based. So those aren't going to go.
That's for sure.
Wait,
IQ.
You said Jokic?
Yeah,
in 2023, free agency draft class. Free agency class. I'm losing my mind, man. Stressing me out at work. All right, so Donovan Mitchell. Man, I would like if we were able to get a chance to bring him in, but like you guys said, it would probably cost too much. And what I thought was crazy is, there's been some rumblings, and it's always the Knicks that he's linked to. And if you look at some of the All-Star voting, Derrick Rose has been out for the majority of the season, and he only received 200,000 less votes than Mitchell. So you can see where, you know, a guy might be a little discouraged seeing that his fan base isn't really showing up to put him into the All-Star game, or is the fan base even big enough to really pull that much weight over there in Utah? So I can understand why he might want to.
They used to vote Malone and Stockton in every year. I mean, they were the top 2 vote getters. So I mean, there is support there. It's just, I think the fact that the Jazz just haven't gotten deep in the playoffs has also kind of hurt the team image. You know, they've had some bad losses too in the playoffs, and they forgot exactly who they got beat by, but they kind of got embarrassed a little bit in the playoffs past couple of years.
Well, the most powerful part of it is the first round exit. So if they get kicked out of that first round, that's, I think, the trigger for Donovan. Like, man, this team is standing still. You know, Gobert's okay and everything else, but come on, I can't win on this team.
Yeah, and when it comes to Murray would be the point guard that I target. He has the size. He can play defense. George, you touched on him not being a great shooter, but a lot of people would be willing for us to go out there and
great 3-point shooter. He can shoot the 2.
The mid-range. He can shoot the mid-range, but him not being a great 3-point shooter, I feel like that's something you can live with when you look at the kind of defense that he plays and the way he's able to find his teammates. So that's not something I'm too concerned about. George, you mentioned that he can probably work on it and get better. I do like the fact that he is one of those guards that has size, and he can play off ball a little bit too, and still allow RJ to cook. So if I were to go and target a young point guard, it would be a Murray as opposed to, you know, some of the other guards that have been linked to the Knicks. It's just like you said, George, you know, you have the fine eye. You said it has been receiving calls and not necessarily fielding calls, which are 2 completely different things.
Because the same could be true said about Derek White on that team. You know, they're asking about him too. And but this is what goes around. What's bothering me is that some people are saying that the front office made a leak, and I don't know if the front office did leak that. I think it's just a story by a reporter. They're not going to want to devalue anybody by saying, you know, our vets are available, but the price goes right down. Yeah. So they've been tight-lipped all this time. So I think it's just clickbait, and this time of season where somebody's saying, how can I get a story out that's different than somebody else? And they don't need the truth. They just need a story that gets hits.
That's what I thought the vets one was, because we've been talking about this for 2-3 weeks. When they made the Cam Reddish trade, you knew they were going to have to trade either Burks or Fournier.
Yeah. The guy I want now, I've become obsessed with, I've always liked him, is Anfernee Simons. That guy. And I've been racking my brain. How is there any way we can pry him loose? The only thing I can think of is if somehow we could sell the Blazers on the idea that they don't need to break up their duo backcourt. All they need is to add a piece like Julius Randle to it. And it'll just cost you Anfernee Simons.
It doesn't match up on monies, but
it doesn't match up on monies. That where we have to figure out some kind of creative way, which is why a lot of these trades happen in the off season. But that guy's upside, he actually has star potential. That guy, his athleticism is tremendous. He's just a fantastic all-around player who's only getting better every single night. Now the question is, wouldn't the Trailblazers want to hold on to him and build around him? That means jettisoning Lillard, McCollum, everybody else. So I don't think they're ready to do that as a franchise. So it might be that they might be willing to give him up to bring in the assets to turn that Blazers team to make one final run with Dame Lillard at the head. And a Julius Randle with Dame Lillard, I mean, we were talking about that here last year. So basically, we're just talking about it happening there.
Don't you think we already have him, though?
Season with Lonzo Ball. That's the same
Who we
thing that will
have?
happen with Lonzo Ball, because Lonzo Ball hit free agency, and then they was able to work out a sign and trade, send him over to Chicago, and now they're trying to mount a run. Because I believe Simons hits free agency at the end of this year. He'll be restricted. Or
Kaiser
something of that
Soze
nature?
wrote here. He thinks he's a restricted free agent. I'll check
Yeah,
right now.
I think, yeah. Actually, I
Yeah,
was
but-
acting like I didn't know. I have Spot Track pulled up.
Yeah.
I let you peek behind the veil.
You get me all like, wait a second.
I'm slick. Hey, but don't you think we already have a lot of him already in IQ?
He has his ability to get to the hoop, Foxy. Like if IQ had that, I'm already like, let's start IQ. If IQ had that, I would not even want anybody else. I'd be like, what are we doing? What are we doing? IQ can't get to. He doesn't have the athleticism that Simons has.
Because I
Now,
still
why
don't
is it
see
saying-
Simons as a point guard. I see him more as a combo.
But that's just because he really hasn't had that even much of that ability to do it. But he has played point there,
Mhm.
and I saw him play point in summer league. It's not necessarily his natural position, but then again, point wasn't Steph Curry's natural position either. He just had to become it. Actually, it wasn't even Kyrie's natural position. Kyrie's not a natural point guard. He's not. He's a scorer. He just has a tremendous handle and he can pass somewhat decently. But Kyrie's never had. I mean, what's the most assists he's ever averaged in a year? 7? I think that's high for him, if even.
Yeah, they usually put him next to a player like LeBron when he was with the Cavs, and now James Harden in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Some guy named KD.
And then some guy named Katie, and then now he's with Harden. Yeah,
Hey, you have a super chat, my friend.
I am curious now about this.
Yep. We got a
just,
super chat from
to,
Antonio Estrada Del Fosa. He says IQ plays better defense, and I'm assuming he's talking about him versus Simons.
I believe that is correct at the moment. Yes.
All right, fellas. Now we're talking
IQ.
about
I love IQ. I mean, let's just
well,
talk about
George. That kind of leads us right into the next discussion. It seems like the front office loves IQ as well. It seems like the Knicks are reportedly getting trade calls from IQ, but Bagley's reporting that the Knicks hold Quickly and Obi Toppin in high regard. Now, this is music to our ears. If anybody should be moved, we said it already, it should be the vet. So now, how do you feel about the front office actually doubling down and committing to not the rebuild, but building with youth as opposed to trying to expedite things with the vets? Foxy, we'll start with you.
This was music.
I love it. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. That is music to our ears. That we were never going to have one post game with those kids about energy. We're never going to have. They're going to try, and the more they play, they get better. These guys. So that's why it's exciting. Quick's defense this year for the super chat that we just had, his defense this year compared to last year is measurably better. He's just growing, and the same thing with Obi. But it's very difficult for us seeing his minutes curtailed, and that impacts his development. So, hey, they were both this front office's guys. They picked them, so there is that pride. So they want to hold on to him, So and the other guys are just journeymen. It does make no sense for our future for us to make a run with them.
And Foxy, the beautiful thing about them is they become more all-around players in year 2.
Exactly.
Even though Quick's shot has been a little bit inconsistent, his defense is there. His playmaking has taken a little bit of a leap. His defense for sure has. He's
the bottom line is the stats that we talk about. They're a better team when he's on the floor. You got to go with it. He's that way, and the better team with Obi on the floor. The last few games, folks. You look at the plus minus of Obi, his production versus the plus minus of Randall, and it's frightening. One is like a positive 30, and one's like a negative 59.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for some reason, Randall is still out there playing a full quarter. Mind-boggling.
SMH with Mr. Tibbs.
So, George, man, it feels good. Like you said, to know that the Knicks are actually going to not ship some of these guys and try to bring in another big piece to try and pair with Julius Randle. So at any point during the season where you kind of on the fence as to what the Knicks were going to do with some of these guys, I know Obi has always been out there in trade talks, at least within the fan base, but I think Quick seems like he's been safe when it comes to fans mocking him up in trades and things like that.
Yeah, I rarely ever hear. I mean, I hear, once in a while you hear Quick. Well, what about Quickly? But it's not really, doesn't have any kind of real steam behind it. The fan base wants to hold on to him, and it's nice that the team is aligned with that. The brass per se. Obi, look, the reality. Look, we've been talking about it. The three of us plus with JD. It's unless Thibs is willing to play Obi with Randall on the court together, Obi, one of them will have to go. Eventually, one of them will have to go. Obi Toppin, eventually he'll become an over-ripened fruit just sitting in the basket waiting to be eaten. It's just, he's ready. He's ready for a bigger role.
He's 24.
He's 24. He's a late bloomer. He's going to start blooming. He's there. Look what he did the other night in just a few minutes. And this is after, remember, I mean, think about if living in that environment where your boss is barking your name out for thousands of people to hear negatively, by the way. But yet he doesn't
thousands, millions when they're on national TV.
Yeah. The number just, it goes crazy when it's on national TV. So, but the fact that he has the ability, the mental makeup to not let it get to him, interfere with his game, to just keep focused and to keep going out there and to keep having confidence. Look at the way he shot that 3-point shot. We've been talking about how his mechanics are right. His mechanics are correct. The shot just has to start falling. He has to work. He has to get extra time. And he said, he kind of intimated that he hadn't been putting in enough time or just wasn't able to. And a lot of that, the holidays screw things up. COVID screws things up. The travel schedules interfere with that. And he's just a guy that needs to get the shot up. But he shot that 3 in college. We saw that he had that stroke in the summer league. It came back. It finally started coming along. He lost it for a while, but he did a nice job recently. I'm look. That's why I keep going back to the Fox, the Fox thing, because it solves a lot of issues. But I'm just happy that we're gonna hold on to, or at least that's the rumor. That's the plan. That's what we're hearing, that we're gonna hold on to Obi. And by the way, Kyrie, the highest assist he ever got in a season was 6.9 with the Celtics. His career average is 5.7 assists. So to me, that's not a real point guard. A real point guard has 7 and above. That's
Boy, I would take that not real point guard in a second.
I know, but I'm just saying, people are so hung up.
I don't know. You bring a lot of headaches and baggage.
Well, the bottom line, forget about that element. It's about his injury history. It's not a question of if, it's when he's going to go down when he plays for you.
Right. But my point was that he's not the guy that he's not Chris Paul. He's not, which is why he's only ever really won when he was with a guy who was a real point, which was LeBron.
All right, guys, we're going to pivot a little bit. Some news. I don't know if everybody is aware, but Kenny Payne looks like he may be in the running to be the next coach over. Give me 1 second.
Kenny Payne is in my ear.
Is in my.
There we go. Yeah. Sorry, it went black on me. Computers over here acting crazy, but Kenny Payne is in the running to be Louisville's next coach. You can see it here being reported by Dominic Yates. Also, Dick Vitale, he's throwing in his 2 cents. He says, "Come on, Louisville, don't waste time. Bring Kenny Payne where he belongs." They tell me at Churchill Downs he is 10 lengths ahead, but the big question, can the administration get the deal done? Recruiting would go up big time. 5-star talents will arrive. I wish I could do that in a Dick Vitale voice.
Will you
I'd have been
Don't waste time. Bring Kenny Payne. Where he belongs. They tell me he's 10 lengths ahead.
See, look, I'm trying to stay away from going viral, so you guys have at it. So how do you guys feel about us potentially losing Kenny Payne? Now, last season,
See you, Kenny.
lost Woodson. He went over. Ooh, Foxy, that's kind of strong.
Well, just meaning Kevin Knox, the big guy whisperer, Kevin Knox. Yeah, he really changed his game. No, Julius Randle, boy, I'm gonna get in his ear this year, and I'm gonna change. So what the hell has he done with Mitch Robinson? Man, he's learned all these post-up moves since no, he hasn't. So what the hell has Kenny Payne done? Like you just said, I miss Woody more than I think we miss Payne.
George,
yeah, I'd be happy for him. You know, that's the way it should be. You know, an assistant should eventually, if they're a high quality assistant, they should graduate to becoming a head coach somewhere. So I'm happy for it. You know, there's I have mixed feelings about it. I do wish, like Foxy said, I honestly, he's someone that I'm a little disappointed with in this season and not being able to talk some real sense into Randall, because they have a great rapport. You know,
this just came over from Begley that Tom Thibodeau endorsed Payne for the job. Yeah, just came over the Begley just tweeted it out.
Oh yeah, I just saw that. Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Hey, perfect timing.
Perfect timing.
Thank you.
They must have heard us. They're watching the show, you know.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. But I mean, just to give you guys a little bit more backstory about the connection between Kenny Payne and Louisville. Right now, he's the betting favorite. He was in the running for the DePaul job last year, but he decided to turn them down and come back to the Knicks. He does have strong ties to Louisville. He was a member of the 1986 NCAA title team. So him returning back to Louisville, I think, would be major for him. He doesn't have any head coaching experience, so I think this would be his first head coaching gig. So hopefully he's able to get the job, and we wish him the best. Mike Woodson, I think, has been doing solid for Indiana since he's been there. So hopefully Kenny Payne can have similar success.
Yeah, I'd be happy for
him. All right. Anything you want to add, Foxy?
Meaning I wish the guy.
Remember,
the
I was saying before about Burks that he was having a nice little run, and then the last couple games he kind of like disappeared. I was intimating that maybe he heard about being on the block, possibly. Well, he was actually for a month between December 23rd and January 23rd, he averaged 40% from the 3-point line. So he was doing well. 11.4 points per game. 85% from the free throw line, and then he's been missing free throws lately. So it's all mental, in my opinion, what's happening with the Knicks right now. I mean, talent-wise, are we where we are? Yeah, but also the mental aspect of the game is interfering with their ability to perform on the court right now. And it might be the whole thing with Julius. Well, that's what I was saying. Like, it's a shame that guys like Kenny Payne don't have more influence on these guys and can really help guide them through this period of darkness and turmoil.
Sound like a writer. This period of darkness and turmoil, like the story of the next season.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. It's time to.
Yeah. All right, fella. Let's jump into the pregame portion. Tonight, we will be going up against the Milwaukee Bucks at an ungodly hour of 10 p.m.
Bring them on.
Yeah, I better not miss Gold Rush.
George is over there happy because he's over there on the West Coast. This is perfect for him, right in his wheelhouse.
I am so like right now, yeah, I'm lost right now in terms of my clock.
Yeah.
Because I live on East Coast time. I live in the West Coast, but on East Coast time. So when you said 7, I'm like, I'm chilling. I was like, I'll take a little nap. Fully forgetting that you meant 7 your time.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got the Knicks and the Bucks stats over the last 5 games, and as you can see, I was able to put the Bucks in, no issues there. And the Knicks offensively over the last 5 games has been dreadful. We're averaging 100 points per game. We are shooting 42% from the field, and we're shooting 33% from the 3-point line. When it comes to assists, again, we're towards the bottom of the league, averaging 22.6. That's good for 25th. But rebounding, we've been solid rebounded, even though there's been a revolving door at the center position. And that's come a lot from, Julius Randle. We have been giving him hell, but rebounding, he stepped up for us. Same thing with RJ. We've seen it with Grimes and Burks as well. So rebounding, this team is third in the league over the last 5 games, averaging 46.6 rebounds per game. Now we pivot over to the Bucks. Points per game, they're averaging 113.2 points per game over their last 5, which is good for 9th. Assists per game, they're averaging only 22.2 assists per game, which is worse than us. And that's saying a lot, because the Knicks right now have not been great at finding their teammates and setting each other up. I mean, there was one game where we were able to get it done, but in the other 4, it's been brutal. So that's something to keep an eye out on.
Recap the last game. We had 24 assists, but only 7 from the starting unit.
Yeah,
in 120 minutes combined. Those 5 guys could only get 7 assists, and 2 of those were from RJ.
Brutal.
Pathetic. Brutal. I was
just
going to say brutal, but I said pathetic.
That stat there.
It's brutally pathetic, I'm telling you.
Hey,
hey, they're the number 1 defensive rebounding team, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're 5th in the league overall at 47.
Yeah. They're 12th. Yeah, exactly. 12th on offensive rebounding, and
yeah, it's kind of. I get the feeling the Bucks are. I mean, they won the chip last year. I get the feeling they're kind of like ready for the playoffs. In years past where you saw like the Heat were kind of like that after winning, and even the Warriors were a little bit like that. It's hard to keep up the intensity throughout the whole season. It's when you've already won. Huh?
Nothing. I just like making Keith smile. He said it's hard keeping it up, and I went pause.
Hey,
it's Friday night, folks. Who gives a shit? You got to let it rip sometimes and just have a good time with the family.
Once you've had a good time with your baby, it's hard to to get it going right away. You need a little breather.
Where's that roadcaster?
I don't even think I have the hi-hats on it.
Yeah. Ba-doom.
So finish up, George. You were in the middle of something.
Oh yeah, I think they might be going a bit through the motions, kind of a thing, because their record is decent. Actually, what is their record right now? They're
30-20, if my memory serves me right.
30-20. They're third. Are they in third? Yeah.
No.
4th.
I think a little further down, actually. The thing that I think for tonight, though, they're coming off a brutal loss to the Cavaliers, and I think they're going to be cranky. So,
so their get right game.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. They're 6th.
Yeah, every once in a while.
They're tied. They're tied for 4th. They're 2 games back. They're tied with Brooklyn and the Sixers. So they are.
Yeah, I mean, the top 6 right now, where they are really isn't too important at this point, because all it takes is a couple wins and they're at the top of the league. So
yeah, but folks, my brother, Bricks Nation, I hope all is well with the family. You just said that we're going with the same starting lineup again.
Well, they announced the starters early.
Yeah, so Geraldine, your favorite coach. Yo.
Why can't they do this when they play at 7?
She wants Thibs gone.
Well, Geraldine's happening. That's why I like Geraldine. She's speaking the truth.
She wants him gone.
Hey, Julian Blum, hope all's well, my brother.
I actually don't want him gone right now. I want to see him play out the rest of the season. I think, with the situation we've had with coaches in the past 10 years or so, let's just, let's finish out the season with Thibs and see what happens, and then we'll readdress this thing in the summer. I think right now it would cause too much of a turmoil. And even whatever, you bring someone else in, so they rally the team and we get into the play-in. Big deal. I mean, that's not going to solve much. And then it's going to make people question themselves too much. I don't know. I think it'll create a lot of instability. But, in the summer, I'd be willing to look at possibly moving in another direction unless things don't change.
Yeah, I'm with you there, George, because in-season mood would throw everything into turmoil. And if we're going to go with a youth movement, I'm not exactly sure Tibbs is the right guy. So I don't think the Tibbs movement is just going to be the last portion of the season. I think that'll carry on into next year. So next year, if we're going with that youth movement, Tibbs definitely shouldn't continue to coach the team. And I think that's when we should make the move. The question is, who are we going to go? Are we going to bring in Johnny Bryant? Do you think he's the one that's going to take care of the needs that these young players are going to need if they're going to develop their careers here in the NBA? Or do we go in and bring in somebody like Kenny Atkinson, who's a known, who we saw, he was able to develop players over in Brooklyn and bring him in? I'm still on the Kenny Atkinson train.
Yeah, being a head coach, which is phenomenal. He's on Golden State
Warriors, yeah.
Yeah, so the education, exactly, the education he's getting on that team. So I think he's the perfect guy, like we've seen with the Jets and other, coming over as an assistant coach and learning how to be a head coach. We don't want that. I know Johnny's put time in, but I'd go Kenny Atkinson too, because he's developed, but he's been a head coach. He's not been a head coach, but he's learning. Now he's on Golden State for the last. That's a fantastic education, man.
Yeah, but see, like a guy like him, we're not going to get him midseason. He's not going to leave Golden State.
We're not talking midseason. Like we said, we think, as Keith said, we think he'll last the rest of the season.
Hey, what about?
However, I think he still gets a ring though, because he's on the team.
Yeah, I think so. What about getting an offensive coach?
That's what I was going to think about.
What about Mike D'Antoni? What about right now? Leon makes a call, tells Tom, "Hey Tom, we're going to bring in Mike. Let's have some fun. Let's enjoy the last few months of this season. Let's see what we can. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can. How many RPMs we can get this engine revving up to."
That's like bringing his replacement. If I was Tibbs, I'm not saying bring in D'Antoni.
I don't think D'Antoni will ever be a head coach again in the NBA.
I think he's a good assistant coach.
I think he's an excellent assistant coach. He's a brilliant basketball mind, and he could stand up to Tibbs.
I don't think anybody stands up to Tibbs,
but D'Antoni could, like the way Woody did last season. You need that. You need that in life, guys. You need that person that is willing to, that has your back, but is willing to say it right to your face. This is not the way to go, guy. You're my guy. Why don't we try this? You need that. I feel like Thibs is a bit stranded right now. Leon's not out there. The other assistants don't really have the gravitas. He's out on an island. The Knicks extended Julius. He was the All-NBA guy, so Thibs' wagon is hitched to his train. And he's in a tough spot. Now he makes it worse. Thibs makes it worse by being lacking flexibility, but that's where having someone in his ear that he can trust and not feel threatened by can help impact the situation. I don't know, I'm reaching here, guys. I'm trying to.
You are reaching. I'm like saying, who is Tim starting tonight, George?
I know. That's my point.
Could anyone get in his ear if you're starting Kemba again?
There's no one there talking. But that's my point. There's no one there with any real weight talking to him about it. It seems like.
Yeah.
I mean,
quick shout out to
be receptive. That's the real question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember. Riley. Look at the staffs Riley had. He had guys. He had brilliant guys, and he was open to hear all of their opinions. Even if you said, "Oh, thank you, man," but I'm not doing that. But keep bringing me ideas. And look at the coaching tree that grew out of that.
No doubt.
Look at Spoelstra. Spoelstra is one of the top coaches in the NBA. A lot of it is because Riles encouraged him to grow.
Van Gundy and Tibbs, big brand, big tree.
Yeah, it's a laundry list.
It's like Tibbs needs his Tibbs, his Van Gundy, like the way Riley had.
Yeah. Quick shout out to the chat. 217 people in the chat, 103 likes. So thank you for getting us over that 100 metric, as we always do. But do us a favor, do us a solid, hit it. If you haven't hit the like button, hit that subscribe button and hit that all reminder bell so you don't miss out on any of the wonderful content on Sports Vibe TV. While you're at it, please do it for Into the Knicks first. So supporting our friend George as now he targets that 5,000. If you haven't, please share the link on your favorite social media platforms. And as always, shout out to the best mods on the planet. Quick shout out to my friends. D is Ballin, otherwise known as Professor D, and the think tank. Hope as well, D. Tricky Nicky, hope all is well. Didn't mean to drop any curses. You said your kid's watching, so apologize for that.
Ooh.
Either that or put him to bed earlier. I can't help it. It's Friday night here, man. So you got, as we said, Julian Blum as always, and we'll catch a little of you in a little while. But thanks so much, everyone, for your support. We greatly, greatly appreciate it.
You guys think Cam is getting any minutes tonight? Or you think he'll be a DMP?
Well, it's a weird game only because Bobby Portis is their 5 with Brooks Lopez out for the season. So I think we can go to see different lineups tonight because of them not having a real big guy there. So, they're 24th in blocks. So, again, I'm hoping that RJ and Julius is aggressive getting to the hole. I don't know if I have. Oh, they're third so they don't do a lot of hacks. They're only third in personal fouls, which is great. They're not like the last game Bucks, where the last game that we played was the Cavaliers. Yeah, they hacked the hell out of people. So So the big thing is they're tonight, and we'll get there. Is they're 7th in 3-point shooting, Bucks. So it's from this point on, folks. Every game is 3-point shooting for us to defend it well and for us to shoot it well. We only shot 34% last game, and and that's even misleading. We were so out of that game.
Yeah, you bring up Bobby Portis, man. Stretch bigs really kill us, and Portis, he definitely steps up in games against us. So he's definitely going to be a matchup I'm going to keep my eye on.
Yeah, George, what about never let him go.
We have Nerlens available.
Oh, so that means the next 3 games after tonight we don't have them. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have both. How many games? What has it been? How many games do you think we've had it where both Mitch and Noel have been available?
Maybe
3.
6?
3. No, it's like one hand.
Maybe you think that little? I thought it was like 10, maybe.
No way. Nerlens has only played. Well, actually, yeah, I think it might be something like that because I don't think Mitch has mixed.
Mitch really hasn't missed much.
Periods. It's Nerlens.
And kudos to him, man. The guy's putting it out there. He's constantly on the floor.
Tell you right
and
now.
He limps off half the time, and he comes back. He keeps playing. That's the power of needing a contract.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, I want him to get paid. He's just going to have to be more consistent out there for us. He was starting to show some signs, and then we had this stinker.
Yeah, he actually didn't even have such a bad game against Miami. It just, they weren't even getting him the ball. They weren't using him. Then like Kemba, and I think RJ once got him for a lob.
So I think it's 9 games they've been on the court together because Noel has started 11 games, played in 20, and you would assume Mitch started in 9 games that Nerlens didn't start. Because it wasn't going to be ties, right?
Yeah, this is game 50, so 1/5 of the season they've played.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's terrible.
That's hurt us. So that was an unfortunate contract for us.
I want to ask you guys, last season we were able to put together that 9-game stretch. Do you see at any point this season where the Knicks can do something similar? Or do you
Not without a D Rose?
We need a little bit more information too on when he'll be back.
Yeah, I know, but there'll probably be a phase in of him getting into game time conditioning and stuff.
Yep.
Game shape. So with
we do see him shooting around.
Yeah, but shooting around and being the real, the Derrick Rose we love. Hey, who knows? Anything could happen, but we'll see.
What was that original timetable? February? First second week of February?
I don't know.
Mid-February was originally the
reevaluated. Okay.
Yeah, so if he comes back in March, then we'll see what he can do for those last couple of months.
For the Knicks to go on a run like that, it's going to have to be against a mix of some weak opponents and some really good opponents. So that means they're going to have to play good ball. It's not going to be like that's one of the reasons we were all upset about how they were playing against these teams during that soft spot of the schedule, because they were going to put themselves in a tough situation. So if they do go on a run like that, I mean, 9 games is tremendous. 9, and then they won 12 out of 13 to finish 16-4 for the last 20 games of last season. That was fantastic. Remember how awesome that was?
Yeah. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, the only sucky part about it is I was at that the Suns game where the streak was snapped.
Yeah,
that's the only thing that sucked about it.
Yeah, that was a rough one to go to.
And the weird part is, if we make any moves in the next week or so, usually it takes a little time for those new guys to, you go through a little stretch of not playing well because nobody knows each other. So,
but you know what though? It depends on the moves, Foxy. If the moves are to just find a home for one or two of those 3 guys that we've been talking about, Kemba, Fournier, and Burks.
I was talking Randall actually more than those 3 guys.
Well, Randall would be huge, yeah. But I'm assuming the Randall's just not going to get moved. I'm assuming that. So things changed, fine. But I do believe this. It just seems logical that they're going to move at least Burks or Fournier. And then if they can't move Kemba, they'll cut Kemba. But we're going to move forward without two of those 3 guys. This team is moving forward without it. And we have replacements. We have guys already ready and waiting. So I don't think it'll be that damaging because whatever we bring in is not going to be anything that's
for them. Yeah, for sure. Nothing.
Yeah. So, but right. If it was Randall, yeah, that could be a huge adjustment. But we have RJ's right there. RJ is there. He's ready. Honestly, we have to focus on the positive aspect of what's happened with RJ. We were so worried about a month and a half ago about RJ. We were like, it doesn't matter what happens. Remember, if RJ can't get his shit together. Oh, I apologize to the kid. If RJ can't get his lunchbox together, then who cares what happens with, what happens with Randall and all that stuff. We're not going anywhere anyway. I mean, the future is RJ, and he is delivering. Can he be that fringe all-star? Well, he's trending in that direction. He's trending in that direction now. So we're back on track. That's a great thing. I look forward to every night. What's RJ going to do? He actually had a pretty decent game the other night, despite the minus 36 or whatever he had. Yeah, that's where, unfortunately, when you are beholden to the unit, see, the people say, oh, it's a team stat. It's not really necessarily a team stat. It's a unit stat. It's the guys you're on the floor with at that time stat. And in that particular case, he was on the unit that
collectively sucked.
Exactly. But it would have been worse if he hadn't played the way he played. That's the irony of that. They could have all been minus 40 if it weren't for RJ. He was hitting his 3-point shot. He was getting into the lane. He was dishing. And remember, he didn't play that whole fourth quarter. So he could have easily had 25 points for the game.
Did you see my boy Quentin Grimes, though? Had 4 offensive rebounds. So every game you see another aspect to his game.
We know what can help fix this team. Just get Kemba and Fournier out of the starting lineup. Let Fournier become specialists, where his job is when he comes on the court, get him the ball, shoot that 3. That's all he's got to worry about. But to start the game, let's get IQ. I mean, Rose is still out, but IQ and Grimes as our starting backcourt with RJ and Randall. And if Mitch is, available, then Mitch. Let's roll with that. And then you bring in Fournier as the sniper. It just seems like a no-brainer to me. Just trying to keep putting the same unit out on that court every night. It's just frustrating.
Well, tonight's a great test.
Yeah, tonight is definitely going to be a great test.
Only because Bobby Portis is playing the 5, so he's going to be at the perimeter the way he shoots threes, and that's been one of our problems with our 5s, covering guys on the perimeter. So this is where we're putting Tibbs in a situation saying, are you going to make an adjustment for a 5 that's going to be hanging out at that 3-point line tonight? Mitch has had trouble getting out there and others. So are you going to maybe go with a small ball lineup to change things up? Got to experiment.
Yeah.
Or if not, we're going to, the results are going to be the same.
Hey, remember Grimes had a huge game against the Bucks. That's when he broke that record.
Mm-hmm.
The rookie record for most.
I think 7.
Yeah, for the Knicks record.
Yeah, I don't think you guys are including Cam in your rotations. What's going on? So
Cam,
who's gonna be in the bench if we elevate IQ
at this point
Grimes?
until further notice?
That's what's gonna suck.
Until Tom Thibodeau comes out and says something, I'm not gonna hold my breath for Cam getting minutes.
Fortunately, I agree with you, man.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking
someone's traded.
Yeah, someone's definitely gonna have to get moved, but I don't know why. I get why they made the move, because if you don't make the move now, maybe somebody else swoops in and does the deal. But it's just a bad optic, and I just hope that they've at least explained the situation with him, so at least he understands, because he did not look happy when he came in the garbage bin.
I think he thought he wasn't going to play at all. I think he's okay. You know what, Keith? I think they have talked to him, or his or word has gotten to him through his agent or something.
Give us 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, not through his agent. Those should be direct conversations you should have with him, open and honest. Have Tibbs, have Rose.
Really? How can a coach go and say, "Hey, don't worry, we're going to get rid of one of these guys, and you're going to get to play"?
Hey, what? Look at what they're doing to John Wall. They told John Wall, "You can't come over here because we got 2 guys taking up."
That's the front office.
Your minutes.
The front office saying that. Yeah.
The front office and the coaching staff, I don't see why they couldn't sit there and say, "Hey, Cam, we made this move because we are invested in you. We just had to make the move early. Now, give us some time to at least clear some space inside the rotation so we can get you some minutes." I think that's how they should be working with Cam. Just be open and honest and up front. I don't think they should hide it behind closed door meetings with the front office, because that's when you have a young player who his mental can kind of get thrown off. So I hope they're being open and honest with him, because that
they were open and honest with RJ
knows what's going
before
on.
They made the trade, asked his opinion, his input.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they have talked, because he did look surprised going into that game.
Yeah. He didn't look enthusiastic, that's for sure. I was a little concerned myself. I said, "What's going on, Cam? You need a little bit more energy, because the minute Tibbs goes and sees this film, you're gonna get even less minutes. He might only give you 2 minutes in garbage time now. You're out there not looking like you're enjoying being on the court at this point."
But that's Cam, folks. You better get used to that. No, I'm serious. You heard my scouting report and everything, and it's been the same with him since college and everything. He goes through spells in games where he's like that, the energy level. So hopefully we can get that energy level up.
Do you guys right now, would you start, if let's say some major changes, would you start Cam over Grimes? Is that what?
No.
How about you, Keith?
I would.
You
I
would.
think Cam's ceiling is higher, and I think also Grimes is finding a nice role with that second unit. So I continue to allow him to play with the second unit, play with Quick, play with Obi coming off the bench, and be that defensive pest for us when things are going to get a little shaky with our perimeter defense. But I think Cam, just the physical tools there, his size, what he can do offensively, I would rather have him starting as opposed to a Quentin Grimes.
Like right now. I don't mean eventually. I mean right now. I mean, let's say
the logic
with this current roster, and like tonight, if you were going to set up the starting unit for tonight, and you could start anyone you wanted to, would you start Cam over Quentin Grimes tonight?
I'd put him in the same lineup. I'd actually, if you're running the offense through RJ, why can't you have Grimes at the point, RJ at the 2, Cam at the 3, Julius at the 4, and Mitch at the 5? Be a hell of a defensive team.
I would love to see that unit play sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know about starting, but I would definitely like to see that unit. And if they play well.
Burks at the point guard. Why the hell can't you throw Grimes?
Yeah. I want to start Grimes. I mean, I want to start Cam, but Grimes has shown me too much to just say, with the way everything is situated, and we're not going to change roles drastically, we're just going to elevate Cam into the starting lineup. Because then what does that do with Evan and with Burks? Because if you do that, now you completely reduce Grimes' minutes, I would assume. So that's what I'm taking into account when I'm thinking about elevating Cam to the starting lineup. Because if you elevate Grimes to the starting lineup, I think you can still find minutes for Cam in that second unit, as opposed to a rookie and Grimes playing now over, Burks and Fournier, who are really going to get no minutes.
Right. Which is why one of those two guys has to go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if Tibbs is not going to give Deuce any burn, I think our best guy to play against the point guard or the opposing point guard is actually Grimes now.
Grimes can handle that from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah, he's played guys really well.
It's just his left hand is shaky. His handle's a little shaky.
We know that, but the offense is going through RJ. So you get the ball.
I think he picked up a move from Rokas over in Summer League. And that's Summer League. That little spin around the baseline, that's Rokas' move.
Yeah.
But that little no-look pocket pass to Obi the last game, that was stunning. So I'm saying Grimes has parts of his game that we haven't seen explode yet, man. So we know he's an elite three-point shooter. We know he's a great defensive player. But you know what? Give him a little more time. He's making some beautiful passes. Passes.
I think there's a chance. I know it might be a bit of a reach, but he could be like a poor man's Clay. Could just outstanding, replicable, high release,
mechanics,
3-point shooter, mechanics, exactly. And his defense is just top shelf, elite. He just can't run the point necessarily the way that a Thibs would want. But we have RJ. And Randall at times. At times Randall can do well. It's just right now his head is just not on right. So it's just take pressure off him.
Whose head?
Randall.
I get confused because in my book, with Tibbs' head is not on right either.
I got to say.
Well, they're in tandem.
Actually, I want to talk. Can we talk a little bit about Thibs right now?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if you guys have noticed this, or maybe I'm over analyzing it or whatever. But Thibs seems a little different in those post games to me. He seems a little more reserved. He seems a little shell shocked to me. Like, and another way to read that is he seems a little bit at a loss for answers. Like things that have worked for him in the past are not quite working because they're not necessarily basketball issues. They are, as far as I'm concerned with Randall, it's all in his head. And he's letting it just snowball and it's just taking over everything. We heard that what is he talking to Rose about how to deal with stuff? And it's like, dude.
Yeah, ask an introvert how to deal with stuff.
Yeah, right. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know, but Rose is he's just a soulful person, and he's been in the limelight, so I could see why he would gravitate to asking him. I don't know if he can actually get anything that he can actually activate, because he's not. Rose doesn't have that mentality like a Kobe had, where he can give you. Kobe's like, do ABC, you do these 3 things, you'll be okay, Rose approaches it from a different standpoint. He's more like, man, I'm not going to imitate Rose, but
but that's why Kobe is
definitely going to go viral for that one. The Rose
that's why Kobe got rings though.
Yeah. But so you guys, you've seen that too about Thibs recently?
Well, he made an investment that's going sour, and instead of bailing from the investment, he keeps saying, "No, it's going to turn around. It's going to turn around," and it keeps going down. It's like I should have got out of crypto this quick.
Yeah. What you call it? But Tibbs is, like I said, it sounds like he's searching for the answers, and he really doesn't know what else I think he can do. Honestly, other than let the players figure it out not by themselves, but on their own. And if he's going to continue to play like that, you're going to have to see a reduction in his minutes. That's what I think personally.
Well, the logic, yeah, but everything. Hey, what are we seeing tonight? Who's starting? So there's no logic anymore. How do you do this when so we're going to say to each other, God, we're down 10-2 again tonight. Every starting game you start Kemba, and also you're putting RJ in the corner again, and all of us are saying, no, turn the keys over, let him run it. This is crazy. So why does RJ have to get his game together in like quarters 2, 3, and 4? Because you can't get it going in the first quarter because somebody's hogging the ball and taking away shots from him.
Last year, Thibs' stubbornness paid off. In the beginning of the year, last year, Reggie Bullock wasn't doing that great in the beginning of the season, if you guys remember. And neither was Alec Burks. Oh, he was kind of hurt. Remember, he was in and out. And then, of course, the whole Elfrid Payton thing. And Thibs stuck to his guns, and then eventually the team clicked and it worked out. But we're so way past that now. That was the first quarter of the season last year when Thibs was in that mode. Now we're like already deep into. We're getting deeper into the second half of the season.
30 to go after tonight. 32 to go after tonight. Game number 50, folks.
Let's see what we have going on in the chat.
Yo.
Yeah, see, last year in the first 15 games, Reggie was only averaging 34.8% from the three-point line. He was 8.3 points. He was averaging 38.5% overall field goal percentage. So he sucked in the first 15 games. And I was calling for a change to be made. Even back then, Thibs ignored it. And then look what happened. It worked out.
I hear Hoodie Kev that goes to Hoodie Kev saying, Knox, goddamn Bullock sucks. Why isn't Kevin Knox playing?
There you go. You remember that. That's what I'm saying.
Shout out to Hoodie Kev.
I lived through that.
Yeah.
More like Hawks Kev now.
It eventually worked out. But I think this year, Thibs keeps waiting for that. And it's not happening. Or like one guy starts playing better, but then something else happens. Then he's got his star player giving people thumbs down and shit. So I think this is a tough year for Thibs coaching wise.
Yeah, because I don't think he's going to be able to recapture that magic from last season.
Yeah.
All right, let's see who we have in chat. Sincere Weave. Did I say it correctly? Says we have the best bench in the league. We can let go of Kemba, Fournier, Noel, Burks. That takes away from the bench though, because then that elevates a lot of those players in the bench into the starting lineup. And then, are we going to see a drop off with the second unit?
That's perfect that you put that up, because I just saw this tweet by Fred Katz of The Athletic. Mm-hmm. He tweeted out, I asked Thibodeau what he meant by concerned here. Because he said, let me backtrack here. I've been jumbled a lot because we may have one guy out, then we got hit with COVID and Derek being out, and Derek makes both groups function well. So there's a lot of things that go into it, but I am concerned. And so the challenge is to get both groups playing well together, and then we start breaking the lineup. You usually have 2 or 3 starters in and 2 or 3 bench guys, and then it gets down to 1, and then you start bringing them back. So I think the challenge is when guys are coming in and out just to continue to play well. You have to play for 48 minutes. And then Fred Katz tweeted out saying, I asked Thibodeau what he meant by concerned here. And he said, well, I'm concerned about the starters, he said, quote, I'm concerned about the bench. I'm concerned about everything. Thibs, the starters play the majority of minutes. Make that your best unit possible. The bench will work itself out. Trust it. Don't be worried about fracturing the mentality of your players. They're professionals. They're paid incredibly well. And if one of them does get fractured, then you work on that. But make your first unit the best unit possible. This is not hockey. This is basketball.
Listen to Van Gundy.
Yeah. Hey, I've never seen a team where the bench is clearly superior to the starters. I mean, as clear as this is. I've seen stretches where it's been like that, but this is, now we're looking at the entire season. 49 games. It is clear that the bench has outplayed the starters. And yet he's worried. There he is. There he goes. Thank you, man.
A little bit late, but we got there.
No, yeah. So, but this actually speaks to what we're talking about. He's concerned. So he's almost, you know what happens, and it happens to me sometimes too. When I become concerned about certain things, I end up not acting, not actually doing anything, because I'm worried if I take
paralyzed.
Yeah, you get paralyzed, and that's what this, to me, this reads as a coach that's paralyzed in his decision making right now, and hence to echo back to I guess it was JD, whatever, the template coaching.
JD,
but it's template. It's a Thib template. It's not. He's not necessarily. It's not. There's not a template for coaching in general per se, but it's Thibs' style that he does. This is the way he coaches. At the 3-minute mark remaining in the first quarter, the bench starts coming in, and that's just the way it is. And you start the fourth with your bench, and
I mean, but a lot of teams do that. It's the thing. The thing is Tibbs doesn't adjust from that when things aren't working, and I think that's where the template coaching really comes into effect.
Because he's paralyzed to make a change. But yet,
paralyzed, or does he have the answers, or does he not have the answers?
Well, that's
50 freaking games in, man. You should have seen the trends and had a better feel. This is a long sample size.
Hey,
man, look, at the 10-game mark, I was calling the bench Kemba and Fournier. You could see the writing was on the wall.
No doubt.
It was there. And then he made that classic post-game interview where he said, after 40 games, then it's bullshit. We're past it.
Exactly.
So he saw it too. He was trying to motivate his guys, but he just didn't. He doesn't have the ability to make the big move right now, which is benching those guys and featuring the bench more.
That's why Rose and them have to incentivize him and get rid of the vets.
Yep.
All right, guys. Oh, you want to say something else?
Oh, just want to say shout out to the chat, man. Thanks, you guys, for joining us, man. This has been
great turnout.
Yeah. We have 235, 237 in the chat. That's awesome. Let's see who is here with us.
I'm shocked you guys aren't mad at me. We typically do a 1-hour show. We're on for an hour and a half. Nobody said anything. I wasn't gonna stop it. You having fun?
Yeah.
Chop it up.
Yo, it's Friday night, man. Yo, John Talento, my guy. Hope all was well with you and the family. Nick Yak. Yo.
He asks, is there another trade coming we need to sell? There has to be another trade coming. We've been telling you that since
two.
We got Cam. Yeah.
We got a few minutes for him. If anyone in the chat wants to drop any questions for us to address, this is the time to do it. Be great. And hit the thumbs up for us. That'd be awesome. Really appreciate
We're going to have happy hour tonight. We have the lounge on weekends and happy hour during the week.
Oh, yeah, during the week. Hey.
Sports Vibes happy hour.
All right, let's see who anything comes up. Lex is saying 237 in chat. Only 6 more likes to 150. Smash that like button.
Ooh,
facts.
Nice.
We're at 149, so only 1 more like is needed. Somebody hold us down. Smash that like button. And there it goes. 150.
Yeah.
Round of applause. Appreciate y'all for holding us down.
151.
Hey, run it up. Run it up.
Nice.
151. I'm going to do a thing of rum now. Yeah.
There you go.
And we also have someone new. Juan Texador. Drop hashtag new. Everybody.
Hey, welcome to the SV Nation, my friend.
Oh, Eric Lou is in. So happy about the trade rumors. Let's shake things up. The season's an L already. All right.
I don't think it's an L just yet. We right now there's still a lot of questions. Can RJ continue to blossom the way
Mhm.
we've been seeing him blossom recently? Can Cam become a legitimate piece on this team? We still have to figure out what's going on with Mitch, and is he a long-term piece for us, as we, head into next season. So I'm not going to say the season is an L, because there's a lot of questions regarding this team, and there's a lot for us to learn as we view, the remaining 30 some odd games.
Yeah, I agree. I know, but I get the sentiment, what Eric's saying. It's like, let's shake things up, because it's headed towards an L if we don't shake things up.
Yeah, that's a fact. If we keep playing the vets and lose, then that's definitely a lost season. Charlie Dorr says, who is the point guard we trade for, which is what we desperately need, and what does that package look like? I'm going for DeJounte Murray. I think, Foxy, you mentioned it
I'm
earlier.
your brother.
Going to take 2 firsts. Can you make that deal and not give up Obi or Quick or Grimes? I don't think so. So I think if you do go
At least
after a
one
guy
of
like
them.
Murray, you're going to have to give up at least one, if not maybe even 2, depending on how they want to be stickless.
Knowing San Antonio, they're going to want a couple,
especially after the Morris fiasco.
Yes.
So how about this?
My guy is Anfernee Simons. I would like. I mean, like just pie in the sky, whatever. Anfernee Simons. I would love to get him, man. Sign and trade. Do a sign and trade with him in the summer.
So if we were to make a move for one of those guys, either Simons or Murray, and you had to give up Obi, Quick, or Grimes, who would you give up out of those 3? I'll start with Foxy.
Obi. And only meaning that, as I said before, the one thing with me with Obi is, and I see he's getting better, but he needs somebody for him to be the best he can be. So if he's dependent on that, then I would give him up, and especially to get a Murray. And again, what we said about Cam's about the same size as Obi. So, everyone looks at Cam as the 3, but look at tonight, we have a guy, Bobby Portis, playing the 5, and he's about the same size as Cam. So I wouldn't mind giving up Obi if we got a DeJounte Murray. And again, this draft, folks, is really, last year was the draft. I'm going over this draft like crazy every day.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the stats, and I was just like, God, is this a terrible? Seriously, I'm going person after person. The top guy is like Banchero. I think he's at his ceiling already. I don't see him getting, maybe there's one guy, Jaden Ivey, or a couple. So, we have to give up to get a player like Murray. The only thing that scares me about Murray is that he had ACL surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm strange about when
he's a little bit skinny too.
I don't mind the skinny. Halliburton's skinny, and a lot of great players are skinny like that. But I worry if they had a catastrophic leg injury, and so hopefully that will be his only injury in his career.
Yeah, I would.
Who would you give up out of the 3?
I would definitely be into. I am definitely intrigued by the Randall for Fox trade. I think it comes with risks, but it solves a lot of problems. And we have Obi to just step right in there, like I said earlier. And I think it would be a nice, dynamic, youthful team. The pace would increase. It would just be fun. It would be exciting to see. And we'd get out from under Randall.
Who are you giving up? Are you giving up IQ, Obi, or Grimes? Don't duck the smoke.
I almost got away with it.
He went on a tangent. I'm like, no, George. We need to
I was
know.
like, where's my fan?
Up?
There's a smoke screen here. I got a USB fan.
Yeah, I'd be willing to give up IQ for a point guard. Yeah.
Okay. And I'd probably have the same response as you, George. You want to elaborate a little bit more? Or?
Yeah, mostly because I think IQ has tremendous value, and I think IQ will eventually be a starter in this league. I think that's where it's trending for him. I think he has actually more value than a Lou Williams does. Actually, I think he's a better playmaker. He could become a better
Lou
playmaker.
Williams at this age, yeah. But the reason I want to keep him is because he is Lou Williams. He's a microwave scorer.
Yeah.
So I love IQ. I think he's just a lot more. Anybody could put the ball in the hole like him, man. I absolutely. That's why I'll keep IQ over an Obi.
I know, but exactly. That's exactly why he'd be a better asset to trade, because he has value to the other team. You know what I mean? Like what you're saying that we love about him, they see that. That's why they're making calls about him. So we wouldn't have to like sweeten the deal too much if you include an IQ in there. You know, so that's and also, you know, we'd be acquiring a guy who's going to play the same role as IQ. So I'd be willing to give up. I don't want to let him go though. I love IQ. That's the thing. I'm you know, I'm in that point where I love our kids. I love our kids. That's why I would rather use a Randall to acquire that point guard.
I hear you. So yeah, I would pick Quick as well. You look at Quick; he's been holding down the backup point guard position for us. So if we were to make a move for Quick, we still have Deuce that we can elevate into that role. So that's one thing that would give me a little bit of some assurance that at least we would give away Quick and still have someone else that can kind of not be the exact same player, but can give somewhat, you know, similar value. Because I think if Deuce is given minutes, you have another player that can play elite level defense, I think, like we're seeing from Grimes. And if he actually gets more minutes out there on the court, we'll see better shooting numbers from him in the NBA. So that's probably why I would move on from Quick. You look at Obi. I would like to see Obi play with a legitimate point guard before I decide to, you know, ship him out. So if we're going to bring in like a player like a Murray that he can play with, I want to see those two together. And then maybe I can try to move Randall for someone else to kind of free up that spot. And you look at Grimes, I think the defense that he's able to play, I think his defense is better than Quick. And I think he knocks down the three as well. It's just that he can't really create as well with the ball in his hand off the dribble. So I think he can probably develop that if he puts enough time into it, and I would be willing to invest to see where he blossoms to, or where he grows, or a player he grows into, and move off of Quick if another team says they really want him.
And slide in Rokas next year.
There's a reason people are calling about IQ. You know, they see it. They see what he can be. And
but I also think there's a front office thing to say that both of them are not touchable. That just makes the price go up for them. Doesn't mean they're not untouchable.
Yeah, exactly.
But by doing that, it's like you're going to have to pay if you want them.
Which is fine. It's a good strategy.
No, that's the game. That's the game.
Yeah.
We got somebody else new in chat. Bobby Pajama. I'm about to say
Pajama.
Bobby Pajama.
Bobby Pajama. Like the J is silent. Bobby Pajama. All right. Let's see what else. So salute to Bobby. Thank you for pulling up. And
there was another good question
into the pregame show.
Thank you, Bobby. Welcome to the SV Nation.
Taisha had one. I need glasses, man. Yeah, Taisha. Tayshawn Welsh 12. So when do you think is a good time for Leon to step in and change the lineup? Right now. Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Not fast enough. Kemba's starting tonight, so it's one game too late already.
Salute to Hadouken Sharon's No Life Pod. He says Sports Vibes was good. Salute. He also says Foxy.
Yo, Duke, everybody, if you haven't subscribed to Hadouken's No Life Pod, please. He is, one of the young guns in the Knicks fandom. He's fantastic, phenomenal eye for hoops. Love talking with him. So please support our guy Hadouken if you haven't subscribed to his wonderful channel. He's good people.
A week from today, I want a trade. A week from today, before they play the Lakers on the 5th. Next Saturday, I want Leon to clear this up.
Yeah, it's strange. Monday we play the Kings on Monday, which is kind of crazy with the swap and everything.
And we play them at home.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So I was like,
imagine
is this the drama?
We want Fox.
Yeah,
we want Fox. That go crazy.
Wow. Imagine.
Him.
So it looks like Tayshawn Welsh 12 is also new. So salute to them. Thank you for pulling up.
Tayshawn, welcome to the SV Nation.
It says we have
Please make sure you subscribe
in the chat now. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, facts. Thank you for supporting the stream. I mean, this is longer than we normally stream. We normally stream an hour right before the game, but with it starting at 10, I had a gap.
Sincere wife.
Up with you guys.
Yeah, Sincere Wife wrote, Randall has the best team-friendly power forward contract in the league, and the new CBA deal is coming up. That's a
decent deal. I don't know if it's the best deal.
Of power forwards?
Let me pull it up. Let me go to Spot Track.
It might be. It's definitely for the value.
Solid contract.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's terrible, but with the way he's playing, it's not that valuable if he continues to play like this.
Yeah, he's just
This type of
checked out.
performance,
Though.
he's overpaid.
Checked out. I'm telling you, he's playing down from his abilities. You know, maybe last year was his career year, but he's not this. I mean, he looks lost. He doesn't have a clue. He's traveling like he's like a high school player right now, jumping up, coming down with the ball
in his hand twice in one game.
Yeah, yep, flinging the ball all kind of plays. Yeah, I mean that play, when the 14 seconds left against the Cavs when he's bringing the ball up. Honestly, when I was watching it live, I was watching it. I'm thinking, and then I looked at the clock because I'm thinking, why are they so casual about it?
And I'm screaming, give the ball up to RJ.
Yeah.
Give the ball up to RJ.
But
give the ball up to RJ.
Right? And his body language, he was just like kind of moseying up. You know, it's like, dude, race your ass up the court. Try to beat. It's just this dude Wade there. If he had blown past Wade on the left side, RJ could have slid over to the left. If he got doubled, RJ's right there, and RJ was off on the break on the left side. He could have just ran into the paint and maybe even given the ball back to Randall for an easy layup. Instead, I don't know what the hell he was doing. Just dribble. That's a guy who's checked out. It's a guy who doesn't have a plan.
Well, I'm also old-fashioned. Why isn't the coach screaming out 8? Whatever, the set play is, he should be screaming out a set.
There was no timeout. They didn't. He got
so that's all right. You can scream out on the fly as the guys are dribbling
screaming.
up.
For all we know, he was.
Yeah. Well, no,
we don't know.
No, if he is screaming, everybody knows the answer. What's he screaming? ISO. ISO.
Yeah. Well, that's true. He did do that one time. That was just tragic. But either way. The energy wasn't there. The body language wasn't there. It didn't even seem like he really had a plan.
No, Randall had a plan. Randall's plan was, I'm not going to give up the control of this team to RJ. I don't want him hitting the winner and winning.
That's not what I'm talking about, Fox. I'm talking about an actual plan to get the hoop.
Like, no doubt.
What was his plan to get the bucket? Did he think the Cavs were just going to be like, okay, yeah, go ahead, dude, get the best shot you have? That's what it seemed like to me, the body language. It seemed like it looked like the beginning of the third quarter, when they get the ball and they're just kind of like moseying up the quarter. That's what it seemed like. It was no sense of urgency.
Should have gave the ball up, created a screen, and let RJ do his magic, whether driving to the hoop, kicking out, do something. But he put RJ got the ball with 6.6 seconds in his hand. And he said to himself,
RJ's clapping. He's like,
tell me about it. I put out a tweet of, that showed that at 10.9 seconds, he's clapping his hands. Give me the ball. And like you said, he's doing do. Which way did he go, George? Which way did he go?
What you call it? I pulled up the power forwards and their salary cap hits, and I think the only power forward above Randall you'd really question is probably Kevin Love.
Oh,
and if you want to say maybe KP and Siakam.
So he does have a pretty good contract, good value.
Oh.
And also he's young. He's 27.
He's 27. His cap hit is 21.7. And then you look at Love, he's at 31.2. So you're definitely getting better value there.
He's
even though Love did cook us.
He's a 20, 10, and 5 guy. So that's a pretty
good. KP's making 31.6, but he's never healthy. And then you
Christian
got Siakam making 33. Christian Wood is making dirt money in comparison to Randall. He's like making 10 mil.
Is he? I thought he was making more like 13 or so.
Yeah, 13.6.
14.
What is it? Depends on how you round. Yeah, 13.6.
Yeah, so almost 14.
Yeah. So almost about 6-7 mil less than Randall.
What do you guys think? You think we're going to see a response tonight from this team? You think they're going to step up
against the Bucks?
Yeah. I mean, we played the Bucks. I think we got blown out one game, but we had the tremendous comeback. Last season, we were able to play them well.
Last season is last season.
Yeah. I mean, winning is one thing, but what happened last game was just an absolute, just humiliation. Just
On
completely
national TV.
outclassed. Yeah, and tonight's national TV as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So
Friday
guys
night.
get up for that.
Friday night. It's a big game. I don't know. I honestly, this is why this is the frustrating part about this team. I don't feel like I know what's going to happen tonight.
I do.
Yeah.
Just meaning the minute I see the Kemba's starting, I know what's going to happen tonight. It's Tibbs all over again. But also, as we said, they're coming off a loss to Cleveland. They're not, they're fighting for themselves. They're defending champions. And I think an attitude tonight is they're going to rip us. And I love my Knicks. I know,
but
Knicks.
Are we going to respond to it?
No.
So
not with this lineup. Not with because of Tibbs.
So you're comfortable. you know we're not going to respond.
Not with Kemba starting. Meaning if Van Gundy and the SV Nation and everybody's saying blow this freaking starters up, and this coach is going back, it's again the definition of insanity, expecting a different result from putting out the same thing.
Yeah. I get the logic of starting Kemba right now, especially if you're showcasing him to trade him and all that stuff. But
you're not going to get anything. One thing is Burks or Fournier. What the hell are you going to get for Kemba at this point?
And especially, you got to try. They got to try.
No, what you got to do
into a corner.
What you got to do is go with RJ and not say RJ's in the corner now. No, let RJ run this team and go with RJ. Make that decision once and for all. And you saw the analytics. The team sucks with Kemba. Yeah. He's hurting this team. Get him the hell off the court.
But it's basically it's like you don't want to go and like dent the car that's on the lot and then try to sell it. You know what I mean? You want to like I get the logic, but my point was where I was
but the car got bird shit on it now. It don't make a difference.
Hey, wash it off. No, where I was going to go with it was you don't have to stick with the lineup though. You know what I mean? You don't have to ride it for those 8 minutes.
So it's that Payton mentality again. Okay, we're going to play Payton. So it's like, what the hell has he learned in 1 year then? Nothing. It's the same mentality.
But we're already in it. But he took Kemba out of the rotation. So he did do something. He took him out. He went a little extreme. I think
didn't do anything if he's still there.
Yeah. Hey, but that's Leon. Leon's the one who brought him in. I wonder if Rose had not gotten hurt, if Kemba would ever have played after.
I don't know. It'd be a different season. We have all of us would be having different discussions.
I don't think it was just Rose. You also had the team dealing with COVID, so he would have found some minutes out there.
I just hope he does. I hope he sees what's happening. And I'm talking about Thibs, and he responds and he starts making substitutions in earlier. That's what I really would like to see tonight.
You guys want to go through a real rapid fire session real quick? I got a few questions here from chat.
Hell yeah. So it's Friday.
Fire. First one from Juan Texador. Boom. Do you think Randall knows he gets traded and is just checked out? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. I think he knows.
I think so. Yes, too. That's why we got the little snippet he released earlier today.
Yeah.
Yep. Thanks, Juan.
Bobby Bahama says, if Tibbs starts the same lineup, do we riot?
We're already, look at us.
We already are
at each other.
I've been sending George pitchforks ever since they DMP'd Cam. So
yeah. You know what, bro? If this game was at home, that Garden would be
on fire.
Total. Yeah, it'd be like we'd be going after him.
So we got another one from Randall Perez. What kind of contract would you guys give RJ Barrett? Maxim?
Let's wait till the end of the year. I want to see the consistency over the next couple of months. I'm happy where you see him, but let's see how he finishes. I think he's going to finish strong. I feel very strongly that he's going to finish strong, but let's learn from what we did from Randall. Let's not make, throw the bag without, we have the time on our side. Let's see RJ play out the rest of this season. Hi, Brandel. Hope your commute's going well. I think he's on the train right now while he's doing this.
Salute to Brandel. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes, we will, because I do believe that he will continue leveling up.
So you give him the max?
I mean, or near it. I think though, if he continues with what he's been doing lately, yeah, he's going to command it. He's a third pick overall. He's still only 21. He's already the leader, really, of this team. Offensively, he's the leader of this team for sure. Defensively, he needs to lock that back in again. He's gotten a little loose with that. But I have. Here's when I put it this way: I have high confidence that if he finishes the year out the way he is trending right now, giving him a max contract would not be a bad business decision. Even if you end up trading him or whatever the situation is, he will give you at least somewhat near. Also, the guy doesn't get hurt. He's young.
Something, George.
He's a leader. Yeah, let's get
Don't jinx us.
Knock on wood. So I think it'll either, if it's not max, it's near max. It's definitely going to be up there, but it's not. What's the max for him? What is it? 20
around, I think like 25, 23.
25. See, what does Mikal Bridges make?
I'll tell you right now. I'll pull it up.
Yeah. So I think, or like Gary Trent Jr. or any like those guys, like RJ's.
I don't think he got them. I don't think Trent got the max though. Trent got a bag, but he didn't get the max.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if he keeps going, but if RJ has another, bad 3-week stretch and he shows us the inconsistency again and all that stuff, then it brings.
We still throw the bag. It's just whether you throw the max. I think we're going to invest in him.
Years.
Max everything, but we have to.
You have to. He's an asset. Look, the thing.
He's a talent.
The thing that we have to start as a fan base, and we can see it now with the front office. We have to look at the players as the players are the product. They're our assets. So we have to manage them. We have to massage them. We have to help support them and nurture them and help keep their value up. When you devalue your own talent, like we did with Knox, and we were lucky to end up getting Cam for that the deal that we ended up getting. Look what happened with Frank. Frank just walked away. We got 4 years invested in Frank. Nothing we got from him. That's just terrible business. So RJ, is he perfect? No. Is he limited athletically? Yes. Is he doing everything he can to overcome it? To me, it looks like he is. And he's he's trying. He's doing everything he can. Look, he actually even looks a little bit faster to me this season. And I think really you can attribute that to his handle, the improvement he made with his handle over the off season. So we can't, if we treat our assets poorly, and that reflects badly on the franchise also, because if you have other guys saying, well, I don't want to go to that team. Look at, they don't treat their guys well. They don't give them the bag when they perform.
Me personally, I pulled up Mikal Bridges. He's making 21 and 22, 23. He's making 21.7 and 23, 24. Then that jumps to 23.3 and then 24.9. So I'm cool with
I love that those numbers.
Something.
Yeah, those are. If we could get RJ for those numbers, that'd be awesome.
In that vicinity, yeah, that'd be great.
I need him to make 9 or 10 from the free throw line before he's allowed to sign the dotted line.
Thank
9
you.
or 10 from the free throw line, and then we can sign the dotted line. I don't know what's going on with the free throw.
Yeah, no 69% three. Yeah, we want
69
an 80.
is cool, but not as a free throw percentage.
Now you talking. Sorry, Tricky, I can't help
it. All right, let's see if we got any more rapid fire. See if you guys see any too, let me know.
I saw one earlier, and
Akeem Reed said, "Is there a chance to get De'Aaron Fox?" I believe so.
I believe there is a chance.
If they keep having losing games like they did the other night, there's a really good chance.
Jesco has a question. He says, do y'all think Randall axed out? That would explain us not letting him talk to the media, would tank his value if he said the wrong things, and it would explain the body language. I don't think Randall axed out. I think he realizes that the Knicks might be considering moving on from him, and the media doesn't want him to then speak to, I mean, not the media, but the team doesn't want him to speak to the media. And like you said, let the wrong thing, slip.
There goes
And
value,
exactly, there would go his value.
decreasing
I
his
think
value.
That's part of maintaining his value. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
So, sorry,
there was a
Jessica. We don't think
rumor.
he asked out. He's just knows that he can't recover from the
Yeah.
comments that
Well,
he made.
Jesco, what time frame are you thinking about here, though? Are you because I know about what was it, Keith? Like 2 weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, there was a rumor that the Knicks were putting feelers out, or they were open to trading Randall,
To move
and
him.
that might have gotten to him in an inverse that could have put him in this kind of bad body language. But he already had the bad body language.
Yep.
But it might have made it
since
worse.
the start of the season.
Yeah.
We got someone new. Silence, ambition,
The starting
publishing
tonight. It's the same as it's been.
The song remains the same, as Robert Plant would say. Yo, Justin L.
Oh,
Justin
I
L.
apologize,
Kentucky's
Geraldine.
finest.
Salute to Justin L. Geraldine says, I asked this question a while ago. Do you guys think that Cam could be a part of a bigger trade package? He could, but I don't know if they'd make a move for Cam, then sit him on the bench and then try to ship him off, again.
Yeah, I don't think so, personally.
Yeah. If
never know.
Cam could have been packaged. It's possible, yeah. But if Cam could have been packaged for a bigger deal, you look at the Hawks, they're a team that's trying to, get deeper into the playoffs. If he could have been packaged for someone, I think they would have made that move themselves and brought in, whatever that big talent would be.
Because they had Ben Simmons discussions and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The Hawks definitely wanted that first round pick because I think they are going to use that as an asset in a package to make some trades that they couldn't get elsewhere. So they got it from us. I think I think the idea is to keep Cam. That's the idea.
I think he could develop on his team if we at least have the right plan in place for him. That's what I want to know. What is the plan for Cam? Because right now it seems like they just made the move and they said we'll figure it out after the fact. Same thing with Kemba. They're like that, hey, he's available, we'll make the move and we'll figure things out later. And now they're seeing it's a little bit more difficult for them to try and integrate a player like Kemba into this onto this team, especially with the injury history. So we'll see what happens with Cam. I just want to know what was the front office's vision when they made the trade? Because we don't hear anything from Leon Rose in the front office.
No. The thing I'm worried about with the Cam situation is, and maybe it's just me, is he subbed in for RJ. Now, is Thibs going to look at Cam like the way he looks at Obi, or like it's either Randall or Obi, either RJ or Cam? I really would like to see Cam with RJ together on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
But is that something that Thibs just doesn't see it that way? That indication of him subbing him for him and then not playing him at all in the fourth quarter. I would also why didn't Thibs bring RJ back in that fourth quarter when they were making that run like he's had in the past, like he has done in the past? It might have helped him. We might have been able to overcome, might have actually been able to really done something in that fourth quarter. He didn't do it, and it might be, who knows? Maybe he didn't want to shame Randall, put RJ back in and the unit just starts kicking ass. And it's shame. I don't know what the thinking was, but I was disappointed in not seeing RJ come back in that game to play with Cam at the same time.
If I was a coach, though, I'd be focusing on Cam. You had, MJ, you want to have a duo. So I'd start nurturing. So Cam is happy playing with a guy that him and RJ would be tight, and maybe somebody else. But, it goes beyond Cam. Let him be the dynamic duo of this team. You have Jaylen Brown and Tatum. I'm not going by the record. I'm just saying. But, you have to have that strategic long range thought about who are you going to pair together. And I think that if he had RJ next to him, maybe his energy level will be a hell of a lot different than playing in a garbage time. And also as a leader, hopefully RJ will get him with that energy, whisper something in his ear to make sure he plays at a certain level. And especially if he put his name on. Hi, it's me. No, and especially from an RJ standpoint, from a leadership, if I could see RJ saying, "Hey, the team asked me about you, and I told them to trade for you, so make sure you back me up, man. And I had your back. Now it's time for you to have my back and play for your life here. And by the way, just a little reminder." That wonderful block shot you had the other night? Got to do that other way every game because that's how you get into this lineup with Tibbs. Just ask Grimes over there.
Yeah, facts. And for those who aren't aware, February 3rd is a very important date this season. It is when Julius Randle becomes available to be traded. So just a few days away. And if any move is made, it would have to happen after that date.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hi, it's me. Hope all is well.
Hey, just so we look at RJ since December 7th. And he missed
a day that'll live in infamy.
Yes, sadly. And then he missed those 6 games with COVID. So he could have played 26 games total, but he played 20 games in this past stretch since December 7th. He's averaging 41% from the 3-point line for 20 games. That's a good stretch.
He's going to finish the season strong. That's why
he's
I said
averaging 21.1 points per game in those 20 games. He's the leading scorer for the team.
The great stat, though, that I don't have handy, but just I'll go out on a thing. The amount of drives that he's made in these 20 games versus when he wasn't. When RJ's successful, man, that's when he's going to the hole because it opens up all the rest of his game, him hitting middies and everything else. And also
being a facilitator.
And God bless you. Thank you. That's perfect because look at our Mitch's game with RJ. When RJ is going, Mitch goes to a whole nother level, man.
Totally. Ghetto Clownfish. Apologies if you already spoke about this, but thoughts on Fox. We did, and I'm the big Fox fan of the trio.
He's pro, and I think
pro.
And we're Murray.
Both against. Yeah. We prefer Murray. Yeah. But I think you'd be open to Fox though, right, Fox?
Yeah, I'd be open to him to get rid of Randall, but it's not my just meaning like I said, I feel strongly with the right development. He's a kid at 23, and folks, he has scary statistics. Meaning in his age 23 season, over averaging I think 20 some odd points, 7 assists, 25 and 7 is the only person other than LeBron, Oscar Robertson, and I forgot who the third person is. He's in really great company
with a shitty team.
With a shitty team, so you can't teach blazing speed like that. So I think his ceiling's above him, and I think Randall's season was last year. So, but I'd still rather have DeJounte Murray.
Mm-hmm. I agree with all of that.
But I'd take Fox if it meant we got rid of Randall.
Yeah, I'm all for getting rid of Randall. I just think we might be able to get another piece other than Fox that could fit this team better.
Who are you thinking?
At least that's my hope.
Who are you thinking, Keith? You got when you say stuff like that. When Keith says stuff like that, he's got something already.
Sean Holmes.
Usually,
Sean Holmes, I don't know about that. In this instance, no. I just feel like we'd be selling extremely low on Randall, even though Fox is a player that can come in and.
You think Fox is selling low for Randall?
I don't think it would just take Randall. I've seen certain mocks out there where it would take Randall and picks. Plural.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, all right, if that's the type of deal I'm gonna have to do in order to bring in Fox, and I'm gonna have to gut, a few first round picks, then I think I might look elsewhere at a player that might fit this team a lot better. Fox as a talent is a great point guard. I just don't know if he's the right fit for us. So to give up Julius Randle, that's pretty much, I won't say it's your our best asset, but when he's firing on all cylinders, at this point, he's still the most talented player on our team. So if we move that away with additional picks for a De'Aaron Fox, I just think we're not getting, the right value.
That's how far Randall has fallen.
Yeah. And you already saying Fox has a down year this season, so we're buying low, and it's still going to cost a hell of a lot.
Yeah, well, depending on what the trade is, it definitely.
Of course, we don't know. We're speculating. I'm just going off of what I've seen, mocked up.
Tommy Beer tweeted this out. I think it was yesterday. It might have been today. Over the final 16 games of the 2020-21 regular season, Julius Randle averaged 27.3 points per game on 44% shooting. 6.1 assists versus 3.0 turnovers, and 3.0 3-pointers made, 43% his last 16 games last year. The 16 games he's played since Christmas this year, he's averaging 15.9 points on 37% shooting, 5 assists versus 3.4 turnovers. So the assists he's dropped 1 assist and he's gained almost half a turnover. And he's only making 1.2 made 3-pointers per game at 23% 3-point shooting. So yeah, we may have to overpay to get rid of Randall if he keeps playing like that. Oh, there it is.
There we go. Getting a little bit better at this and move it on the fly. So now I have it on screen.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. So for
It
those
just
who wanted to
it's
see
when
the
you
stats,
see
it
it
was
laid
right
out
there.
like this, it just becomes incredibly stark. How far he's fallen.
Yeah. And one to compliment this is from Tom Piccolo. Pardon me. Just on Julius's catch and shoots. Last year, he was 41.7% on 3.8 attempts per game in 71 games. This year, he's 31.5% on 3.2 attempts. And just January, he's 25% on catch and shoots on 2.7. So, it affects, and his effort on defense, he impacts the offensive fluidity, he said, and, impacts the team greatly. So, yeah, he's taking a nosedive that not just his stats, but it impacts the whole team.
Yeah. It's sad. I'm bummed. I'm bummed that Randall was dropped off like this. It was such a great story last season. The guy was struggling. He wanted to solidify a home in New York. He took those 9 months off during the pandemic to work on his game, to turn himself into a beast, and he did it. And look, you just saw those numbers that he closed the year. The guy was averaging almost 28 points per game, and that was a tough schedule. If you remember those last 16 games, those were not easy.
Yeah, but in the playoffs, the league took notes of, this is his kryptonite. Throw a double team at him. All right. Yeah. And all right, let's throw a 3 at him instead of a 4. And he's never been the same.
Never been the same. He's never been the same since then.
It's crazy what a little bit of tape will do.
Yeah.
Word. 9:59, folks.
Yep. We took it up to the game, even though that wasn't
right
playing.
Up. 2 hours and 12 minutes.
I'm shocked I didn't get a knock on the door.
Me too.
You're on for a little too long. But chat, thank you guys for tuning in. We had a lot of new people in chat.
That's great.
Also, I think we got close to 200 likes. No, yeah, where are we at? 197
199.
right now? 198.
199 on my side.
I'm on a little bit of a lag, so we just asked a couple of you.
Yeah, 198. Come on, hit that 200. Hey, Joseph John, let's do a quick shout out. Hey, Joseph John, we missed a super chat from you on Sunday.
Yes.
So, Joseph John, I just wanted to say thank you so much. We appreciate your generosity. You're really, really cool, and we made a note of it. Sometimes it's very chaotic when you go through a show and those things get past it, but on the replays we take our notes. So just wanted to say thank you again for your generosity. In fact, I have it here. Last week he said, what combination of skills makes perfect Tibbs point guard? And to answer your question, D Rose, Tibbs' perfect point guard is a point guard who breaks down defenses, and when they converge, either he scores, and if they converge, he kicks it out. So that's why a lot of us, when we looked at the shot clock, don't forget Sports 5 TV at 8 p.m. on Sundays, folks. Where's the place to be? Sports 5 TV. We talked about when we looked at the shot charts that Kemba was a 3-point guy. That is not a Tibbs point guard. So,
he does want him to shoot the 3, but they have to primarily be able to penetrate.
Exactly.
Rim pressure, which is why I do love Fox for Tibbs. He gives you that rim pressure, that restricted area threat.
Yeah.
204 likes.
Hey,
thanks again, Joseph.
Run it up.
Run it up.
Thank you guys.
So, fellas and ladies, if you ever send one and it gets past this, we promise that we make our notes to just let you know how much we appreciate all your support. You know, we love the SV Nation, and we got your backs.
Facts. Appreciate everything. Oh, this has been a long stream. We normally don't stream for 2 hours anymore. We normally keep it to an hour, hour and a half. But you guys held through.
It was a special
200
night.
Solid.
Yeah, George won't shut up, man.
It
He
was
just
Friday
kept going
night.
and going.
I just kept asking
swear.
questions.
A lot of us are prepared to be snowed in, so we just chopped it up. And hopefully
Yes.
we can take these positive vibes and take them into the game, and hopefully we'll win.
Hey, when I went for lunch today, all I wore was a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, here he goes rubbing it in.
Oh.
Here he goes rubbing it in.
Yep.
All right. Any last things before we sign off?
No, I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. I'm going to be thinking about George in just a t-shirt.
Accent, enjoying the best shrimp tacos in LA.
Yo.
Man.
Hey, we got the 213. Appreciate
Yeah.
it. 214.
There we
We're
go.
running it up.
There we
Thank
go.
you
That's
all.
awesome. That's
Appreciate
awesome.
the
It helps.
support.
It helps. It
Love
helps
you, Justin,
tremendously.
man.
Facts. And the next one is going to be on yours, right, George?
Yes, on Monday.
Next game on Monday. All right. So once again.
Oh yeah,
The Kings
isn't that
game.
the Kings? Woo!
Mm-hmm.
For all we
Ooh.
know, we may have a new point guard by then.
Exactly. Right. You might see Julius Randle in a Kings jersey.
Oh man, can you
In that
imagine?
purple and white.
Yeah, but Halliburton won't
I
be
don't know.
smiling.
I forgot who it was. I think
Imagine.
it was Joshua Richards tweeted out trading Randall to Sacramento will be Caden's origin villain story.
Yeah. We can't discuss what my response was, but it was hilarious. All right, man. We're gonna sign
Kazanki
off.
Gaming, what's happening, man?
Yep. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, I'm Keith, host of Sports Vibes TV. That's my guys, Stephen Fox, our NBA analyst on the channel. And we're joined by George from Into the Knicks Verse, who will be hosting the next pregame over on his channel at Into the Knicks Verse, which is in the description if you guys want to subscribe. Make sure
Get
you
us
guys
on
subscribe
Sundays.
to this channel as well, because we'll be on Foxy and I doing our Sunday stream at 8 p.m. So thank you guys for tuning in. Let's go Knicks. Hopefully we can get this dub and have some fun on Sunday when we're
And I will be doing a big trade video soon. It's in the works. It's in the works.
With the teaser. George with the
Ooh.
teaser.
It's a
Take
big
care,
one.
DeBear.
And it might have a special guest. We shall see.
Yeah.
Oh, sucky
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Boom.
All right. So with that one, we're off. Thank